I've been ranking up a lot of science champs recently, and one of them that happened to be at a very convenient time was Spider-Punk. And I say it was a convenient time because I ranked him, I think, before he was buffed, and then a couple weeks later, he released in the past patch notes with his buff, which I actually didn't realize was coming out so soon. I thought it was going to be December or January. Not exactly sure how I got my time so messed up, but you can safely say I was pleasantly surprised to see that this guy was buffed, and actually, like, significantly buffed too. Like, I think the physical vulnerability potency increase was really significant, also the duration to them, and those are just two of the main things that he really needed help with just a little bit more damage. I know people talking about his SP1, I really don't know what I'd do to make his SP1 better. I think it's there for when you need it, and otherwise just don't use it, it's not that big a deal. I genuinely think that he's a pretty good champion now. I think his damage is great, and once again, that's the only thing I really thought was a problem with him. I think he's got some pretty decent utilities, and he's a really, really fun character to play, and he's good for most game modes. Like, I can't really think of one specifically where he's that bad for. Maybe Alliance War, but that's only because he's not in the Decay pool. Like, he was stellar for the Secutor pool. I wouldn't be sending him ever to Alliance War, the next tactic, because Decay counters literally everything, so it wouldn't really matter to send him when he's not Decay. But I think he's even good in some Everest content. I don't think I have any Everest content recorded, but I know there's some out there. So we're just going to start immediately with the Battlegrounds stuff, with this Onslaught first, and the painful Gladiator Circuit meta. This meta, it's painful, as I already said. I don't hate it, but I know many people really do, and I don't blame them for why, especially when, you know, champs like Onslaught exist who have special attacks that last like 6 seconds, so he's just spamming them back to back, and I did not mean to parry that. That was really cool, but it's whatever. Here, I'm just gonna try to push him to SP2s if I can help it. I'm gonna lose my physical vulnerabilities because, like, he's getting so much power I can't even intercept again. But either way, we're just gonna be baiting SP2s at this point and try to get to my SP2, and then eventually I'm gonna Fate Sail him. So yeah, this is a really, really fun meta. But he's actually going to have a decent score for Onslaught this meta, if I do say so myself. We get the Ruptures going. They don't even have any physical vulnerabilities active. Now I get one, which, cool thing about the physical vulnerabilities is that the damage of the Ruptures is going to go up if you apply the physical vulnerability after the Ruptures were already applied. Meaning you don't have to have them before you drop the SP2. As you saw there, the numbers did go up when I did that little counterpunch attack, so yeah, really cool mechanic there for scenarios like that, and that was a pretty decent Onslaught takedown, considering how he is in this meta specifically. Alright, next up we're fighting Destroyer. This is a rank 3 Destroyer, so we are punching up, and if you don't know, Spider-Punk is usually the go-to Destroyer counter in stuff like Alliance War, and in BGs he does a very good job of it too, because of that counter evade, allowing you to catch Destroyer's dash attack and remove his unstoppable for a bit. And then you just have those early physical vulnerabilities, where we can just do like a 12k medium like that, and we don't even have the Ruptures active. And if you don't know, Ruptures are Spider-Punk's main source of damage, so having a 12k medium to go with them is a pretty nice bonus, if you ask me. I'm going to Relic into a Heavy, which I probably should have dropped the SP2 there, it would have saved me some time, but I'm going to drop it here instead. I think I wanted to be a little close to an SP1 just to immediately detonate the Ruptures, which is a decent strategy. But I did forget about Destroyer's Unstoppable there. Luckily I have an Unstoppable of my own, so it didn't really make a difference, but I did lose a little bit of health there, and it probably caused me to lose around that, and me delaying my Special 2 a bit. It was a little stupid on my part, but still a really good score. And then we're going to move on to this Sasquatch. This is from the Victory Track meta. So we're going to have Secutor, which is going to give them a power gain, and then we want to get a heal block up to stop the power gain, and then the heal block comes from placing debuffs. Just to recap how Spider-Punk places debuffs, he has a taunt on his heavy attack, he has a physical vulnerability when he intercepts, he has Ruptures coming from the SP2, and then if your Punk is awakened, he has Ruptures from when the opponent finishes a special attack, specifically one that their last special attack also was. And then this is a chance type thing, so the higher the sig your punk, the more likely it is to place that rupture when they do duplicate special attacks. So here I dropped the SP2, gonna refresh that heal block, and now he's in Wrath. He's gonna be spamming his SP1s, and every time he finishes that, we are gonna have a good chance of placing another rupture. My punk is only sig 30, so we didn't really get that many there, because I think we only got one out of the 3 SP1s to place a rupture, which is annoying, but it just means we have to spend a little bit of time. I should have just baited Sasquatch's SP1. That would have placed a rupture that could have probably detonated, because we're not going to get a rupture from countering his SP2 when the SP2 was not the last thrown special attack in the fight. So that could have been like 60 seconds if I just played it better, which is really, really good for a Sasquatch that we're punching up against, if you ask me. So yeah, and then another fight we're punching up against, this time a rank 3 Dust, again in the Secutor tactic, so the defenders are still going to have that steady power gain, which is a little bit annoying, but that's mainly all that there is to it for this. I'm going for the evade immediately, going to go for some intercepts here. He has a really, really nice light attack for intercepting too, so if you prefer light intercepting over medium intercepting like I do, that's just a field day. And then Dust having those projectiles in the special attack for me to dex is really awesome, because that just builds up his crowd, which I guess I should break down what crowd does. You have, well, that was really cool evade. Your crowd, it goes from 0 to 300, and 300 is the maximum potency. The maximum potency of your ruptures, like maximum increase of the ruptures that you can get, is 182%. So between 0 and 300, that 182% gets higher and higher. Or that's probably not the best way to word that, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So yeah, there we go. With Dust is down in just over 60 seconds. Which is pretty nice. And then we move on to a rank 3 Werewolf by Night. Spider-Punk is Rupture immune. He is Rupture immune along with Scorpion, and I can't even think of other champs, so someone's probably going to tell me in the comments, because I know there's more. I know Silk reduces the duration of it and stuff, but I can't think off the top of my head who else is Rupture immune. So anyway, place the physical vulnerabilities early. Now I want to bait and punish a bunch of Werewolf's SP1s, which have a bunch of free dexes in them, which is really cool. And then just keep taunting him, getting him to continuously throw them, and then just placing those Encores and placing the Ruptures. The Encores are really cool because they reduce the attack rating of the opponent during that specific special attack as well. So if you do somehow mess up and get hit by it, that's going to be a nice help to reducing the damage there. So Punk is just absurdly good for Werewolf. You saw the finish of that fight with a really nice SP1, and then we did lose the round, but still 47 seconds punching up is pretty nice. And then we're gonna move on to an Ebony Maw. This Ebony Maw, I think I mess up somewhere and need a degen, because I wasn't playing around his double SP1 very well. But also Punk was increasing the likeliness of him to throw that due to his Encores, so I did shoot myself a little bit in the foot by baiting the SP1, but it's not too big a deal. We just lose a bit of health, but still kill him really fast. So yeah, a little annoying, but I could have played around it a bit better, so it was definitely on me. That degen hit hard, man. But there we go, just spam some heavies. Get him to throw another SP1, which at this point he can't degen me from it again, so I might as well. And then I drop the SP2. It's going to do some really nice damage, and then this Ebony Maw is almost dead. Going to go for the counter punch right there, and then he drops. So, 43-second Ebony Maw kill, not too bad. And then now we move on to a couple Alliance war fights that I had from last season when I did take Punk to war once. Normally I run like Mr. Negative and Morbius for the Secutor tactic, but here I got to use Punk instead because I just needed a couple to take the tactic. Nothing specific utility-wise. So it was pretty fun to get to take Punk here. So yeah, again, I just have a couple fights. Starting with the Chavez here on node 8. You did see me eat unfazed there, but the fun thing about Punk is that when he evades, he places a stun, so it doesn't really matter. You're going to be able to not really counter the unstoppable, but it basically isn't there, is what I should say. So now we drop the SP2. We don't have a lot of crowd because of the fact that he only starts with extra crowd when he's playing Battlegrounds or duels, but it's still fine. The ruptures are doing decent damage, and then we're playing war, so we're going to be boosted anyway, right? I did get late on that SP2 for the first hit, but it wasn't that big a deal. She goes down anyway, and then next up we're going to fight Kindred on path 8. Spider-Punk is really good for Kindred because Kindred has a clause in his kit to where if you trigger that pause by countering his special attacks, it is 14 seconds when he is fighting a Spider-Verse champion rather than the 8 seconds for everyone else. So it just means that Spider-Punk has a longer pause window of preventing that nightmare outbreak, which is really cool. I do like that, and I don't often use a lot of Spider-Verse characters versus Kindred. I don't really like Silk doing it for the matchup, and yeah, it's cool to see Spider-Punk using that. So yeah, now we just counter the special one. You can see the pause is very much extended. That actually might be more than 14 seconds, man. I think it's actually longer, and I just don't know the exact number. Maybe it's increased by 14 seconds instead of is 14 seconds. I could see that happening, but I'm not really sure. Maybe it is 14, and my knowledge of time is just not accurate, right? So we throw the SP1, that gets him to drop dead, and then we move on to the next piece of content I'm going to take, which is the Grandmaster's Gauntlet. I really like this quest. It has a lot of different ways of showing the power of some champions. So we have a few bosses in this quest that we're going to take with Punk, starting with the Vision here. And the first thing we want to show off of Spider-Punk in this quest is his Encore mechanic, which, if you don't know, the Encore mechanic is a mechanic that not only reduces the damage of special attacks from the opponent, but also makes them more likely to throw a special. So we can just bait Vision special ones here, even though he's got the node that says he only throws his special attacks in the consecutive 1, 2, 3 order. And then we also have the taunt, of course, which is going to increase the likeliness as well, but you don't always need the taunt, as you're going to see right there, he threw without it. Gonna go for the evade into the special 2. It does some pretty nice damage, and dude, his animations in SP2, gotta love him, right? So here, baiting the special 1 again, he throws it, we go for the counter, don't get a rupture, but that's, again, because my Punk is low sig, and then we do get a rupture on that one, so now I'm gonna go for another SP2 as soon as he drops the special. I want to go for a couple intercepts as well, because I lost my physical vulnerabilities, and then we drop the SP2 here, do some really nice damage, of course, have the ruptures to do even more afterwards. They're taking very hard, and then I'm just going to go for the SP1, detonate them, and then it's going to do plenty of damage to finish off Vision just like that. So, alright, next we're going to fight MCoC in the same quest. There's the time. It was just under 1 minute 30 seconds, which is pretty nice. And then we're going to fight MCoC in this quest. Not the cleanest fight from Spider-Punk here, but he makes it work. He likes the stun vulnerability node here because obviously he has his own personal stuns. And then the Specialist 1 node is interesting because it's going to reduce the potency of the ruptures that we're going to inflict, of course. But the SP1 is going to cause them to do more damage when you detonate them. So it's a little interesting trade-off there. Here I'm just trying to get MCoC in his corner, and then bait his special ones, do a bunch of countering those. And another thing about the Encore, I mentioned this earlier, but you do not have to actually counter the special to place it. They just place themselves when the defender finishes their special. So, like there, when he gets auto-blocked, it doesn't matter, he still places the Encore anyway. Annoying that the Disorient is really messing with my evade, especially, I feel like the RNG was really bad. I was getting it to prevent my evade a lot when I had low counts of Disorient on me. Like there was a 20% chance and like still failed. Threw the SP2 into his auto block, but it's fine because it goes through blocks, so that's awesome. There we get some nice burst damage because we have the Furies and stuff. That's exactly what I was hoping would happen, was I get the SP2 off and then immediately followed up with a special 1. So yeah, that went really cool. Throw some heavy attacks here. The Rupture's ticking very nicely. Now we place another one, and this MCoC is definitely dead, so... Alright, that's the second Gauntlet fight. The next one we're going to take is Dragon Man. So this is the aspect of evolution Dragon Man that also has stun immunity, and a node that doesn't like it when you power drain him. So Spider-Punk doesn't care about power drain, obviously. He does care a little bit about stun, but when Spider-Punk evades, you're still going to be able to counter the opponents. You don't need the stun to get your opening. It's just, the stun is there if you want to like chain it into a heavy attack mainly. You don't necessarily have to have it, so. Anyway, gonna do some dexes on the special attacks. Try to build up my Encore a little bit to get it ready for the SP2. There, I acted like I was going to be able to heavy attack, but I just forgot that I couldn't. But I'm pretty sure I don't mess that up again. Let's see. Here, continuously baiting and punishing his SP1s. That's just the game plan here, because we want to keep placing the Ruptures, obviously, from Encore. A little annoying that his physical resist is going to go up every time he crosses a bar of power due to Aspect of Evo. At least I'm pretty sure that Aspect of Evo does increase physical resistance. I don't even remember now. What am I doing here? I need to drop the SP2. I get it right there. Okay, I honestly thought I was going to go Special 3, but I didn't. Even if he is increasing his physical resistance, we are reducing it just as much with the physical vulnerabilities, which is really cool. And this Dragon Man's already losing a lot of health. Low battery warning, that's on me, it's not your phone. I get comments sometimes from people who see the low battery on my screen. They're like, wait, I thought that was mine. No, it's me. But there we go, do some more Ruptures, and now I want to race to an SP1. Go ahead and detonate those. If I get the chance, he might die before that, and it looks like he is going to die before that. So yeah, those Ruptures, they hit very hard. They hit very hard when you get your crowd maxed out and you have those double physical vulnerabilities. So next Gauntlet fight we're going to fight is Thing. A little bit of an annoying fight for Spider-Punk. This is more a skill-based Gauntlet fight rather than a RPG counter-based Gauntlet fight, so I'm not going to say Spider-Punk's has great utility for this fight, because I don't really think he does for Thing in general. But one thing I guess you could say is that Thing has that protection. The protection is really annoying when you're using champions with big hits, so a benefit of Spider-Punk being mainly red numbers, even though he does have some actual decent crits on the SP2 sometimes. Mainly his damage is in red, so that can obviously get prevented by protection, but triggering with the protection itself is going to happen less often due to him not having a lot of yellow numbers. So I don't exactly know why I'm going for an SP3 here, but I guess we are. The SP3 is still good. It places Ruptures just like the SP2 would. I think it also increases the duration or increases the potency of the Ruptures for the rest of the fight, so it's not a bad choice for long fights at all. Maybe he actually meant to do that. I don't remember anymore. Either way, I need to get Thing to throw a special attack here real quick. Doesn't feel like it. There he throws it. And then we go for the counter here. Gonna build up to an SP2, and then we're gonna do some nice Rupture damage, of course. So counter it, get the Encore, place a Rupture, go for a heavy attack. I need to do one hit real quick, just to get Thing to 15, and then we're gonna counter immediately into an SP2. So drop it here, down, up, up, and then we get some nice Rupture damage, which of course is going to be hindered a little bit by Thing's crit resist, kind of like how Aspect of Evo hindered Dragon Man's Rupture damage, but they're still doing decent damage regardless. And once Thing just throws his special to get rid of his rock stacks, then we get them at full potency again, right? So that also helps. Now we're just going to build up to one more SP2, and that's going to definitely finish the job. Going to go for a Relic into a Heavy, refresh my physical vulnerabilities, go for the SP2. I was late on one hit, but he's going to die anyway. So there we go, that is Thing. The next Grandmaster's Gauntlet fight we are going to take is... I don't know exactly. Oh, it's going to be Mojo, okay. I think this is the last one, actually. So, Mojo has Physical Resist node. He also has a node that is going to autocomplete his prompt every 20 seconds. So the goal for this fight is to kill as fast as physically possible. Because we're just eventually going to get degened, like basically guaranteed. Because of the fact that he's going to be auto-completing his prompts. There's not really a way to prevent him from doing that. So, we're just going to do what Spider-Punk does very well, and that's damage. We're going to get to the SP2, and hopefully kill Mojo absurdly fast. Go for a heavy attack there, place the taunt, he drops his SP1, and we counter it. Gets one encore, want to keep placing those. Don't want to dex too much, because that's going to trigger the dex itself, and then trigger the stagger. That would be bad, but we're going to go for the SP2, place the ruptures. They still hit very hard, even with that physical resist node, and we're just going to probably need one more SP2, maybe two more, probably two more actually. And then you can see I just take that full SP1 on block, and then it doesn't do that much damage to me because of Encore, which is really awesome. And then we have some willpower healing from the stagger too, which is nice at keeping my health topped up. Down, up, up for the special 2. Probably can't drop an SP1. I don't think those ruptures are going to kill, so we're just going to go for another SP2. I might go for the SP1. Oh, I'm going for the SP1. Okay. Yeah, that's not going to be enough damage, and I definitely should have went for the SP2 instead. But it's okay. Go for an evade there. Now I'm degenning. Like, oh no, I need him to die very fast, please. Take the SP2 on block, which actually hurt a lot, because now he's got his Fury up and stuff, but the physical vulnerabilities are just making my basic attacks hit pretty hard, so I'm going to kill him with that medium attack right there. So, last few things I'm going to show for Punk are some questing content stuff. This actually might have been pre-buff. I genuinely don't even remember. Look at the rupture damage and you can see if it's pre-buff or not, because I'm actually going to stop talking here. There's not much I like to voice over for questing content. I just put it here because that's some of what people really like caring about. Also, this is like 30 frames per second. It looks so trippy seeing the game in 30 frames per second again, I think. So, yeah, this is going to be all I'm going to say. So, thank you guys so much for watching this one. I hope you like Punk as well, and I'll see you in the next video.